Okay, now I'm going to start the audio. We ready to go?
I guess.
Welcome back to the second hour of the All Ball podcast. Yeah,
Let's get it.
so for this hour, we're just going to be going over a bunch of sports news. We haven't had a ton of time to cover a bunch of stuff for a while because we've been doing a lot of NFL. We're going to start with some NFL news from around the league. The big story of today is Brian Flores is suing multiple NFL teams, including the Dolphins, Broncos, and Giants. He is suing them for defamation. He accused Dolphins owner Stephen Ross of incentivizing him to lose games on purpose shortly after he was hired. Allegedly, this year too, the Bills made a decision on hiring Brian Daboll before Flores' interview, which they're required to interview a minority before they make a coaching decision, according to the Rooney Rule. Do you know why he's suing the Broncos? Because I actually don't.
No, I don't know. I would imagine the same deal, just with Josh McDaniels. Probably similar to the Giants situation would be my guess.
Okay.
Here's the thing: is if it's a rule, it's a rule. They got to follow it. So the Giants. I mean, I don't completely agree with the rule because, in a sense, it would more or less just be a waste of everybody's time if they were set on Dable anyway.
Right.
It's kind of like, I don't know, when you go into something, like let's just say you don't like somebody, and you go to hang out, or you're hanging out with somebody, and they're there, like you're, like automatically, cognitively, just kind of like discrediting everything that they say for the most part. Like that's just kind of like that's what I do. That's human nature, and it makes sense. So I feel like that would have been the same case here if you weren't sold on him. If you already had your guy, the interview would have just kind of. I mean, it would have happened, but it like wouldn't have meant anything. So I get it. It's a rule. So Flores will probably, I would imagine, win with the Giants, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean,
maybe.
if everything's true, if everything comes out as true, it's just a matter of what, whether it's true or not. The Dolphins thing. Well, I guess if you want to talk about the Giants thing, if you had anything to add.
Yeah, the only thing I gotta say about that is I don't know if it's a legal thing. Like, so it's obviously like an NFL rule, but I don't know if he can prove that they like legally discriminated against him. You know what I mean? So like,
That's true.
Maybe the Giants could be fined by the NFL, but I don't think that's something you can prove like in an actual court. And I don't necessarily think he's doing it to win the suit. I think he's doing it to bring attention to it, which is a good thing. It is. It's just like you said, I don't think the Rooney Rule really is that effective because, yeah, you have an interview, but it's not going to stop a team from picking the guy they want. And if they're just doing it as like, because they have to, what difference does it make?
Well said. So about the Dolphins thing, I've heard a lot of stuff coming out that this was like early when he was a head coach, and
It was right when he was hired.
And they were more or less using him as like a bridge coach. They weren't, I don't know, super sold on Flores, and he turned out as a good coach in my opinion. He's had a really solid defense over the last couple of years. It was just kind of that clash between him and Tua that kind of led to his downfall. But the thing is that, so they were really, really high on Tua before they drafted him. So this was year one under the Flores coaching. And Tua got injured, lowered his draft stock slightly. Joe Burrow had that insane college, best college season ever, boosted his draft stock. So Tua falls to 5, which fortunately for the Dolphins, that's where they were picking that year because Flores didn't want to go 0-7 or 0-16. He didn't just want to throw games for money,
right?
Which makes sense because let's say he was to do that, and they fired him, he wouldn't have got another head coaching job.
Yeah, right,
And he,
right.
I would assume that he's going to at some point, like especially like a bad team. Like you think worst comes to worst, he's going to retire or be the Texans head coach.
But no, he's gonna get hired again. But I don't know if it's gonna be this year. Apparently, the Texans are looking at shoot, Josh McCown.
Also, did you hear about Jim Harbaugh?
No,
He is a Vikings head coach now.
no way.
Yeah.
Are you serious? Did not see that.
Either way, back to okay.
Dude, I did not
So,
see that.
so let's say, yeah, I know it's kind of cool. We can talk about that in a little bit. So the Flores deal. So he didn't want to throw games to boost their draft stock. He wanted to actually compete, which is good. It's a good, that's good for both his career as well as just the sport. When teams kind of like even this year, I would say I really don't think the Jags or Lions were like purposely losing games. Like a lot of them, they were kind of competitive in, especially the Lions, right? So it's good
Right.
for the sport. Just get everybody's best effort constantly. Uh,
Hmm.
so either way, the dispute kind of started when they drafted Tua anyway. Um, and I don't know. It's possible that maybe Flores didn't want to throw games just because he didn't like Tua. That's definitely a possibility. So the fact that they got him anyway kind of strike the problem in their relationship, like
Right.
the Flores and then the GMs. But either way, he kind of got put in a crappy situation. And on top of that, there's some stuff coming out about Bill Belichick too, right? And this
Hmm.
whole spiel.
Well, he just texted Brian Flores because apparently he got confused, and I don't know how he found out,
Yeah, Bill's
but
got
he
his.
found out and he thought it was Brian Flores, but it was really Brian Dable. So he texted Brian Flores, "Congratulations," and it wasn't Brian Flores. So I think that was just evident. That's like how Brian Flores found out that they had already made a hiring decision
Okay.
before his interview.
Okay.
So Bill Belichick like didn't do anything, but
So kind of a weird situation. We might. I mean, unless you have anything else to add,
yeah,
it's really all
not really.
speculation at this point. So we kind of
Right.
got to wait for the facts and evidence to come out about who's in the wrong here. It's see, here's the thing: is like I've heard some people saying this might jeopardize Flores' like opportunity of getting another head coaching job. I don't think that's true. Like,
I
I
think
mean,
it could. I think it definitely could. Like, it has a potential to do that. For example, he's never going to get hired by the Giants. He's never going to get hired by the Broncos. He's
no,
never.
right?
Well, obviously, he's not getting hired again by the Dolphins. Like, obviously, but I don't know. It could. It's just teams don't like it when things that shouldn't be the headline become the headline. I mean, you look at the whole Colin Kaepernick situation. Whether no matter what you want to think about that, Colin Kaepernick was a backup before the whole kneeling thing happened. He was a backup before that. And so teams, whatever you think about it, if he got blackballed or whatever, the point is it's not in the team's best interest to have a distraction as your backup quarterback. Like that was a distracting topic and he was a distracting player. Like he took away from the goals of the team simply by causing a different conversation, right? So when you have somebody that shouldn't be the main focus become the main focus, that's a tough situation to deal with. Now, the head coach is a little bit different because they should be part of the main focus, but not for non coaching related reasons. You know what I mean? It's just distractions, and it's tough for teams to deal with that sometimes. So,
He should go to the Jags.
wouldn't be bad.
I think he should go to the Jags. I think that's an interesting spot, especially with them having the number one pick. Could trade down. Well,
Yeah,
actually,
get
here's
a
the
lot of
thing.
picks.
Here's the thing. I was thinking that they could trade down, but like, who's going to be trading to the number 1 spot this year? Like, there's not really a quarterback that's going to get,
Not a quarterback.
So, like, who's going to, I don't know if you're going to be able to trade
Is
down
it that? Because who would you take right now? That
at number 1?
the pass rusher from Georgia. I forget his name.
No, I don't think he's from Georgia. The one from Oregon. What's his name? He's got a weird name.
No.
Pass rusher from Oregon.
So on this mock draft, they think Aiden Hutchinson would be drafted.
But I don't. Kayvon.
Oh, you're
Thibodeau.
Kayvon. Yeah, Thibodeau.
Yeah, I would take him number 1. Dude, I don't know about Aiden Hutchinson. I don't like it in that Georgia game, man. Like, he didn't come to play. He got completely overwhelmed by.
Yeah.
I mean, NFL offense. Like, Georgia has a good offensive line, but that's NFL talent, offensive linemen. You know, is it the fact that he was just beating up on? I don't know.
Well, and he beat up on Ohio State, which does have very good linemen, and he wrecked Wisconsin's line, which is good. So, like, those are 2 legit offensive lines. And he's got the size. He's got the measurables. I think he'll be fine. Anyway.
It'd be cool for him to go to the Lions. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So.
Done with Harbaugh or Flores?
Oh, yeah. So this news just broke about Harbaugh not that long ago.
Yeah, it was like probably 2 hours ago.
Yeah. That's really interesting.
I like it.
Actually. Yeah, I wanted him to the Bears. Wait.
Well, that sucks.
Yeah. I don't think it's confirmed yet.
I mean, there's just reports that he's to sign with the Vikings.
It says heads to Minnesota for an interview that will be a precursor to Harbaugh becoming the team's next head coach. Yeah, I wanted him to the Bears, so yeah, I think that's a good hire for the Vikings. I think Jim Harbaugh. So here's the thing. He's a very good head coach. Clearly, he's an excellent head coach. He's had success everywhere he's gone, including now Michigan this year. Took him to the semifinal. Had a lot of success in San Francisco. The reason he didn't work out in San Francisco, though, is I think he's just a very contentious personality to work with. So you're going to have to get a GM that works well with him. And then I think it can be fine. He's a good head coach. Like,
that's not a problem in Minnesota. But the thing is, don't you think they would hire the GM, another GM, before they would attack the head coach?
Well, I think the reason they did it this way is so they knew they could get Harbaugh and then pick a GM that'll work with Harbaugh. You know what I mean? Because, like, Harbaugh's the draw there. Like, usually, I get that. Like, that's how the Bears did it. Also, the Vikings are structured a little bit differently than some other teams. Like, their GM doesn't run their whole football organization. Like, for the Bears, the GM's their football guy, period. And the Giants, they have a couple other executives, so.
Yeah, I guess I thought it was confirmed, but I guess it's just reports right now.
Probably going to.
Yeah, more likely than not, I would say. Kind of a cool thought. But I think we'll probably highlight the whole Flores thing once we get more stuff at some point.
It's hard to say. Like, right now, it's just hard to say. Because, like, there's not a ton of information. And it's just things like this are so hard to prove. Like, I think the Giants could be fined by the league. I could see a very good case for that. I think it's hard to make a case against the Broncos. And the Dolphins, I don't even know. Like, is that even against the rules?
I don't know. I mean, that's the same thing with the Rittenhouse, dude. Defamation.
Oh.
That's what that was about.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. And also, I think there's a trend of, like, ex-Patriots coordinators and stuff Just like
Not
being
good.
contentious.
Well, because the thing is that like a lot of them guys try to adapt like the Belichick way of being like stern, very professional coaches.
But
But
they're
you
not
like
Bill
can't.
Belichick.
But you can't be like ignorant of other people. That's the
Right.
thing. Yes, obviously you're in charge, but you gotta like listen to opinions
Right. And
and
also
whatnot.
like Bill Belichick gets away with that more because he's established. Like, and he has a great relationship with Robert Kraft too.
Uh-huh.
You know, and Bill Belichick only answers to Robert Kraft. So whereas Brian Flores, you had problems. Matt Patricia had issues in Detroit.
Yeah,
Uh,
really bad. Like over excessively friggin' like it was like Urban Meyer times 10.
yeah, it
Where he
was
just like was completely disrespecting players.
Charlie Weiss, former Patriots offensive coordinator, had issues. Not Sean McDaniels, Josh McDaniels had issues in Denver. So like, then
It's
again,
all
he was
like
coaching Cutler, so
a
that
lot of
makes
it
it
revolves around like ego stuff.
right. And it's kind of just like, yeah, they try to adopt the Belichick model without being Belichick. Like
There you
Belichick
go.
can get away with being like that because he's Bill freaking Belichick. He's the greatest coach of all time, so that helps.
Oh, you want to talk about the next football game? Pro Bowl?
Oh yeah. So Russell Wilson, Kirk Cousins, and um just recently, he's not on this report yet, but what's his name? Got
Mac
added.
Jones.
Mac Jones. Sorry. Brain fart there. Mac Jones got added to the Pro Bowl. So I guess
I mean,
Russell
it's
Wilson's a
cool.
legitimate, but like,
It's
dude, just
cool.
nobody wanted to go, apparently.
Yeah, the Pro
Apparently
Bowl,
nobody
I
wanted
think
to go.
Pro Bowl is getting really stale.
Yeah.
Especially because, like, I don't know. They don't really try, which I get because, like, you don't want to get injured just having fun. But, like, they haven't really changed up, like, what do they call it? Like, the Pro Bowl challenges or whatever they do, like, for the game.
No.
What is it called?
Honestly, would anybody be mad if they changed the Pro Bowl to like 7-on-7, two-hand touch or flag? Would anybody be
Yeah,
mad? 'Cause they already
oh,
don't
that'd be
tackle.
cool. That would be
They already
cool.
don't tackle. So at least then you get them to try.
That'd be cool. I do watch the dodgeball, though. I like dodgeball.
Yeah, that stuff is fun. And I like they don't really do this anymore, but they used to have the long throw competition. That was cool just to see how far players could throw it. Um, like the throwing competition. But I think it's dumb that they have a receiver do a throwing competition too. Like I don't want to see. I don't
Yeah,
care about that. I
yeah,
don't
that's
care about
true.
that. Um,
The fact that who did Mac Jones replace? It must have been Burrow, huh? Yeah, it must have been Burrow.
it must have been Burrow or Josh Allen or Mahomes or Herbert.
It must have
Apparently,
been
a bunch of people
Burrow.
didn't want to go. Brady's
Ugh,
passing. He's not going. Um, dude,
Rodgers is
they
just.
should have let Big Ben go.
Well, I don't know. You think Big Ben would have went? Probably he's probably already
Maybe not.
like in a wheelchair. He
Maybe he
probably
wouldn't have
can't
gone,
walk
but
anymore.
it would have been fun if he did.
But like he's already chair ridden and he can't walk anymore because he's drank like 600 Bush Lights.
Dude, that should just be a competition. They should just have who can outdrink Big Ben.
That'd be cool.
That'd be hilarious.
Okay, couple big injuries for the Super Bowl. Funny enough, because they both got injured in like the same way, I guess, like being tackled from. Or no, because Higby just got smashed, but Uzama was just like running, I think. But either way, both the Bengals and Rams starting tight ends, Uzama and Tyler Higby, are probably out, right?
Yeah, probably out with MCL sprains. as of right now, they're both questionable, but it doesn't look likely. I mean, MCL sprain's tough because you can play on that, but if it fully goes, then you're in trouble.
I guess I would say it's probably more of a loss. But here's the thing, like, so Higbee, I think, is used more in the Rabs offense because he's probably like what their third, fourth target maybe, whereas Uzama's like maybe their fifth target.
Right.
But the thing is that having a young quarterback, they need that like safety blanket
A
to
big
rely
target.
on, and
Right.
so that's like there's that one throw. Remember against the Raiders to Uzama,
Yeah.
just that rope. Like that's just like they're gonna be
Yeah.
missing that.
The back of the end zone.
Yeah,
Zone.
yeah.
Yeah.
Either
Yeah.
way, this
I don't think it makes too big of an impact on either
no,
team.
they
To be
cancel out.
honest,
They really cancel out. So
they'll be fine.
Jimmy
Okay.
G. I saw Kyle Shanahan was not willing to talk about Jimmy G's future at their end of season press conference, which I mean, who cares? Because he's gonna be gone. I would think he's gonna be gone. I think they actually said that they were gonna start looking at trade possibilities.
Yeah. We talked about this a little bit last hour. Just that. Yeah, I think Jimmy G really proved a lot this year. Like, he could have made it so difficult for the Niners, and he just didn't. So, I think that says a lot.
I think he should go to the Bears.
I think the Bears have Justin Fields. I think they don't need him.
I think you get Jimmy G.
Hmm.
Playoff experience.
I think so.
Yeah, we kind of highlighted, I think, the big landing spots earlier. Pittsburgh, Denver, maybe Tampa if they're willing.
Green Bay
Tampa,
quarterback.
nah.
Oh, you're rocking with Jordan Love? You like that? You like Jordan Love?
Guess we'll see.
Yeah, okay. We'll see. Not very good against the Chiefs. Not very good.
Yeah, but Justin Fields had one passing yard in this first game, so actually it was -1, wasn't it?
Relax. His coach was Matt Nagy, bro.
Yeah,
Matt Nagy.
He had a winning record, bro. They should have kept him.
Okay, that's enough. We don't need to talk about Matt Nagy again. All right. I don't like it. It just makes me sad. Why would I want to talk about Matt Nagy? That whole era just made me sad, dude. I was happy for about 3 weeks in the Matt Nagy era. 3 weeks in 2018.
And then double doink.
And then Cody Parkey
double doink.
had to knock it off the upright twice, dude.
Dude, the Bears could genuinely win the Super Bowl.
They could have. Dude, you know they could have. They had already beat the Rams that year. They were 3 missed Cody Parkey kicks away from being the #1 seed.
They had a good defense.
They had a really good defense.
Who was their quarterback? Was it
Mitch.
Foles? Oh, yeah. I forgot about him.
Foles was on the Eagles that beat them. That was Mitch's Pro Bowl year,
forgot
bro.
about that.
That was Mitch's Pro Bowl year.
That's funny. Okay.
I still love Mitch.
We're gonna look at
It wasn't good, but I love him.
You want to look at power rankings or go over coaching?
Yeah. So let's go to some NBA. We're going to go over the power rankings again. We did this a couple weeks ago, but a lot has changed.
Things change. People come
Since
back.
then.
People get injured. The Lakers suck.
Well, that's not new.
That's true.
That's literally nothing new.
The Warriors have just been
apart.
like, I don't know what's up with the Warriors, bro.
They're still good. Steph Curry's just not been playing very good, but they'll get it together.
It's like, honestly, they almost play better when Steph and Clay don't play.
Yeah, that's weird. But You know that
Like they have a better they have a really good record when they don't play.
they'll get it together. They just a little bit of time, get their chemistry back. They haven't played together for 2 years, dude.
Yeah.
That's a long time to not play together. They'll figure it out. But did you know that Russell Westbrook actually has a higher field goal percentage this year than Steph Curry?
Yeah, I saw that.
That's unreal.
Well, that's because he was shooting like 3 for 27 in like a couple games, like Curry was. What is that? Dude absolutely threw away his MVP case.
Oh, he really did.
Like
He's
I thought
only
he was going away with it, but
Dude, he's 36.9 from the field and 31.3 from three. That is not very good.
no. So we're gonna kind of review the ESPN's one, see if we agree with it,
Right.
change stuff if we think need be. So number one's the Suns. I completely agree. They've been playing probably the most consistent basketball over the last 2 years. They have a lot of playmakers on top of having Devin Booker, who I think is an all-star starter snub. Chris Paul's been one of the most efficient players, great team leader over the last 15 years, right? Aiton's still big inside, really good. You got a lot of shooters. Jay Crowder, Mikal Bridges is good at defense, and he's getting better at shooting. They just all around have a good roster. They play kind of like the Spurs did with Tim Duncan. You remember that? Where they
Right.
like, and like the Warriors did when they had Katie and all them, where they just kind of make that extra pass to
Right.
hit the wide open guy. Like they just have really good, you know, player efficiency, and they all make the right play. So I completely agree with them being number one. And on top of that, they have the best record right now for a reason.
Right. So they just completed their second 8-0 run in road games in a month. They're the first team in NBA history to go 8-0 or better on the road in multiple months in a single season. No other team has done that once.
Yeah, that's
So,
weird. That how are teams better? Well, I guess I don't know if that means they're better on the road, but some teams just know how to do it on the road, man. Like I couldn't even imagine that waking up in a hotel, you know, don't
yeah,
even
going
really know
to
where. Sorry, go ahead.
just going to like not your locker room, not having your comforts, everything is just not the same routine.
Right. A lot of that is about routine, man, like you said. So I couldn't even imagine, like, I mean, to be fair, they probably do have really, really nice hotels and they're treated probably very well. But I would just, like, I like being home, man.
Right. So,
Number two.
yeah, go ahead.
Number two. Wait, you agree? Suns number one?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. And I guess
Dude,
as
the
of
East is not very good this year.
right now, I would say they're probably my favorite. Like, I would be, if I had to put money on somebody, it would be the Suns, probably.
Right. Yeah, the Warriors number 2. I don't know. They've just not been good lately, but they're 6-1 over their last home stand. They just beat the Nets. Draymond Green is injured. Steph Curry is just not doing very well. I mean, like we just mentioned that. But yeah, I don't know if I would put the Warriors number 2 at this point. Do you agree? Would you put them number 2?
No, but I'm just looking at the rest of the list. Like, who are you gonna put above them? I guess just in terms of power rankings, like who's playing. Because, like we said in the last one, I think power rankings are a combination of both projections as well as current play. So, like, you can predict that the Warriors are going to end the season very well.
Right.
Maybe even make the finals. Maybe probably even, if they make it, win the finals. Uh, but just right now, there's just something off with that. And, like, I mean, you could look at it kind of like the Chiefs this year, where they had that 2 month stretch where they were just kind of pissing around, trying to like play with stuff and figure things out. And they, wound up in the AFC Championship game and were the Super Bowl favorites before they lost last week or weekend.
Right.
So that might be kind of like a rough stretch that they're going through right now. And you look at it, they're 37-13. That's a really good record. They're going to finish
Right.
with close to 60 wins. So like they're going to have a good seeding. Right now, I think it's between the Suns and Warriors, just in terms of who's making out of the West, especially with the Ingles injury. That really hurts the Jazz, who are
Right.
usually decent playoff. They usually play pretty good in the playoffs. Uh, either way, I guess I would leave the Warriors there right now, just because I think that their ceiling is so high that like
Right.
the next team that we're going to talk about, I would say is playing better right now, but I would think at their peak, the Warriors are better.
Good save.
Right. And like I said, it's all chemistry issues. Like Clay and Steph haven't played together for 2 years. Like I was saying. So it's just all chemistry. And once they get Draymond back, which they will, and have some time to sort this out, I think they need some rest. The All-Star break will help with that. And I think because they're getting older, dude. They're just getting older. Like Steph is getting older. Draymond's getting older. They'll get some rest down the back half of the season because seeding is like whatever. Like I don't think it matters as much in the NBA because you're still gonna get games at home and away no matter what. So I don't think they're gonna be too concerned about seeding down the back, and I think they'll get some rest, and I think they'll be good to go come playoff time. So yeah, they're probably they're probably pretty close. The Grizzlies are playing really good though. They're in third. I know we laughed at them last time, and they're still up
I thought it was a little
35 and
fluke.
17.
Hey, they're rolling, man.
John Morant is playing excellent right now. Like he's making an MVP case, I would say at this point.
You know what? That's really fair, because I would say right now
Nobody wants.
the MVP race is really up in arms, because KD had it and he got injured, and Steph had it and he played like crap over a month. And
I would say the favorite right now is Joel Embiid, but
that's true. It's probably between Joel, Giannis, and
dude, honestly, you can
Jokic.
put John in there.
Actually, I would say probably the favorite, or at least my favorite right now, is Jokic. He actually currently,
That's fair.
I saw the other day, he has the highest PER in a single season of all time, player efficiency rating. So basically, like a passer rating for a quarterback, in a sense.
Mhm.
He has the highest PER of all time, and but that Nuggets team is just like, I don't know, there's just something off. Like they're not as dominant as they have been over the
Yeah.
last 2 years. So that's an argument against that. Whereas like the Grizzlies, who they made the playoffs, right? Last year they beat Golden State in the
did.
play-in, and then
Yeah. After that Laker one, yeah.
they won a couple of games. So like you
Yeah,
could kind of see it last year coming. Like they're on the up and coming, but I didn't expect them to win 67% of their games, 2/3 of their games this year.
Right.
I would bump them down a couple spots just because you think about it like this. They're clearly the third best team currently in the West.
Right.
So the likelihood of them making the finals, I think, is less than like a team that's third in the East.
Right. So like the Heat is the first team in the East, so they're number 4 right now. I think that's fair. Jimmy Butler's playing very well right now. He's averaging 26, 9, and 9 over the past 4 games. He just dropped a triple-double against the Raptors on Saturday. They're 32 and 18. They had an off year last year, but I mean, this is still the team that made the finals 2 years ago.
I just don't know like how Jimmy Butler like decides to play, because it all hinges on if he like really, really is committed in playing at the time, because they all around have a good roster, and it's not as good currently as it was 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
They lost Kendrick Nunn, who was a good bench guy. I don't think Kelly Olynyk had a decent season that year. I don't think he's even on the Heat anymore. I haven't heard anything about him. And he had a good, decent playoffs. Tyler Hero's really regressed since his rookie year for some reason.
He has.
Like
it's
I don't I don't get
He's
it.
just not shooting the same.
Yeah. And usually it's like,
You would think shooting could carry over.
right. So that's kind of weird, but they still overall have a good roster. I mean, to be fair, they did also add Kyle Lowry, who has playoff
Right.
experience. Um, but
Like, he can
they
take
had
some of the load when Jimmy Butler's out. That was their biggest problem. Like, he can run the offense when Jimmy Butler's out. That was their biggest problem they had against the Lakers. Like, when Jimmy Butler was out, their offense was a disaster. Like, they just had nothing.
yeah.
And
So
so
I mean, I don't see a problem having the Heat in the top 5. Currently, they've really not played well. Actually, currently, I think they're on a 4-game losing streak right now, or 5-game right now.
Like,
Yeah. So it's just weird how teams do that. But the East is so wide open that I could easily see them making the
wait,
finals.
they just wait. Oh no, they lost.
I think right now in the East, it's probably between the Bucks and the Heat, right?
Sixers are, I don't know. Sixers are weird. Like,
But like, who else did it? Like, I could see the Sixers, but Joel would have to have just such an amazing playoffs, which he's capable
he
of.
can
He's
done it
capable of it.
before.
It's just if they, I don't know. Tobias Harris doesn't play great in the playoffs either. I mean, to be fair, they lost Ben Simmons, and they just don't. I don't want to say lost him, but they just don't have him right now, right?
Right.
And so that's probably a bonus for the playoffs. So maybe that gets them over the hump because they've gone decently deep in the playoffs the last couple seasons, just haven't been able to push through and make the finals. So maybe that'll give them that edge. But I would say my favorites to come out of the East right now is the Heat and Bucks. So I guess I don't have a problem. I would probably slide the Heat above the Grizzlies, just for the
I would agree
fact.
with that. I would too, just because they have a better overall roster. I feel like.
Yeah.
All right,
Okay.
so rounding out the top 10 is then the Bucks, the Bulls, who have regressed, which is fine. Um, the Nuggets, the Mavericks, and then the Cavs actually are in. They have it 10th right now at 30 and 20.
Dude, the Cavs are up and coming for sure. They got a lot of young guys. Probably the rookie of the year, Evan Mobley, Darius Garland's looking like. I think he made the All-Star game. He definitely should have if he didn't. He's having a breakout year.
Right.
He's in that talks for most improved. But I just think they don't have any playoff experience.
No.
They're just a little too young yet. Maybe like one decent draft pick away from really, I think, going up into that
Right.
that championship tier. The Nets, I don't
That's
know.
right.
I don't
They
even
just
want
have
to.
all sorts of trouble
No.
because Kyrie and then Kevin Durant's injured, isn't he?
Yeah, he's gonna miss.
MCL
I think
sprain.
another month and a half. Yeah, look at because their big thing is they have the best like three-headed monster in the NBA when fully healthy and firing on all cylinders.
Right.
But one of them is injured for a quarter of the season. The other one can only play in road games, and the other one wanted to get traded.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on, dude. They're all over the place.
And on top of that, 2 of the 3 don't like the head coach.
But that doesn't help.
So it's like they really have one of the highest ceilings in the NBA, but I don't want anything to do with them until they figure something out in that team chemistry aspect.
Oh.
So I don't see a problem with them being out of the top 10. Kyrie's actually been playing really good, though, coming back.
He has, but in road games, because
Yeah.
dude, it's just such a strange situation.
Dude, maybe they're purposely just trying to get that 8th seed.
Maybe.
Guarantee 4 games of Kyrie in a series. Stupid.
Anyway, some other interesting highlights before we move on quickly to the college football transfer portal in the last couple minutes. The Clippers are down in 18th with no Kawhi Leonard and no Paul George. The Lakers are
Yeah,
down
I
in
don't
19th.
I
They
don't
just
know when Kawhi or Paul George is gonna come back, because if they do, I mean, you could probably put them in that Grizzlies kind of category, just below Warriors and Suns.
yeah.
Uh, I guess I wouldn't imagine that they would make it out of the West, especially when you look at it. Was it 2 years ago when they were like the favorites to come out of the West? Yeah, it was 2 years ago, wasn't it, when the Lakers won? It was kind of between them and the Lakers, I think, was the
Right. Yeah, it was. Yeah.
talks. And I don't know, their playoffs just kind of they didn't look that great. Kawhi had a really bad playoffs that year. So I guess if they come back, it'd be interesting, but I don't know if it's super impactful. Like you said,
Right.
Lakers at 19, they're just weird.
We've talked about that. They just suck, dude. They're just bad. Um, yeah, that's pretty much all the interesting stuff for that. There's not really any more notable teams. I think there's gonna be the NBA is in a weird spot this year. I feel like there's more parity, but yet there's a lot of teams that are just really bad.
No,
Like,
that's definitely true. I would say right now the only teams that like really wow me and I actually find interesting is the Suns.
I would agree with that. Yeah, I would agree with
Like
that. I think the Warriors are interesting just because I feel like they can put it together, but until they do, it's just gonna be tough to like say,
so
all
many
right,
of these teams are just not filling up to their potential. Like the Nuggets are just not there. Mavericks haven't ever been able to push through and complete that roster. The Celtics are just all over the place. Lakers all over the place. Just a weird season for the NBA.
right. Okay, so in the last 3 minutes here, Caleb Williams announced his transfer to USC. Um, following his coach Lincoln Riley. Um, I got excited because there was some rumors about him possibly transferring to Wisconsin, but I don't think I ever believed that was gonna happen. So it is what it is.
I don't know. I think it's cool. It kind of adds diversity through the college football right now. Just there hasn't been that like dominant West Coast team in a long time,
Mhm.
in like 10 years, really, right? Or I
Right.
guess I would say that the last one was like Oregon when they had Marcus Mariota, I guess.
Right.
But like even then they never won. So it's cool. And on top of that, it adds, thickness to that Pac-12. But in turn, the Big Ten or Big 12 kind of sucks now. like
Right.
like Oklahoma State's probably gonna win that next year, I would
Right.
think.
Yep.
So it's cool, and it was expected to. Obviously, Lincoln Riley turned to Caleb Williams halfway through the season, and they had a lot of success together. So it's a
They
good
did.
fit.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's a good thing. All right. So that wraps it up for this Tuesday. We'll be back here on Thursday. With the NFL season wrapping up, we're going to do our predictions for the Super Bowl. That'll be next week, Thursday. So I think in the next couple episodes here, we're going to have some interesting segments like this where we go over a lot of news in the second hour and we'll try to come up with some interesting topics for the first hour. I think next week or maybe the week after, we're going to at some point do a Tom Brady tribute where we look back at his career. Um, Also, for the second hour of the podcast today, we're actually going to be on YouTube, and we should be on YouTube from now on. It's going to be at my channel, uh, Joseph Shelton. So you should be able to find us there. So we're going to try to get that working. We'll post that on Instagram once we know for sure. And as always, we're on Spotify and iTunes. Be sure to check us out on Instagram and TikTok as well. So have a good one.
See ya.
shit, I forgot to play the next 30 seconds. Whatever, it's fine.
It is what it is.